This is our 18th session, Ken Yirbu, in a series of Shoel Meishiv, talking with our Rav Leib Tropper. In Yoni de Pesach, as it approaches, whether the person is watching it now or even during or even after the Yontif, can you give us kind of a tour of the things that we really need to know as we go into the nights of the Seder, and things we should prepare ourselves for? How do we go into it? How should we approach it? What do we need to know in essence? There is so much to know. The Haggadah is the most published work in all of Yiddishkeit. So to condense it would be beyond. But just to give us some idea of the breadth and scope and insights into going into Pesach.
Right, that's amazing. Onerous job, but I can't do the full job. Of course, the full treatment would take months, if not years and years, maybe multiple years to do that. But there is few interesting things that I could share with you. Just for those who like Pesach delights, or children, teenagers, young alike who are. The Gra says that there are 64 mitzvahs on the first two Sedarim of Pesach. Please, I appreciate if you could tell me 30, or send it to email at Meishiv.
Meishiv.com.
Meishiv.com. Or Meishiv.com. I'm not sure. I want to check that. But it'd be wonderful to hear your what you found. You could spend probably a whole week just looking for the 64 mitzvahs, Drabanan and Deraisa, that we came through the Seder. Right? That's a fascinating thing we're going to have. What is the hardest mitzvah, do you think, on Pesach? So there are some people say, staying up for the Seder. Some people would say, eating the matzah kazesim, and they walk around carrying their stomachs like, a bag of stones, something like that, and they're really difficult for them. Some people say staying up with the wine, when they're very machmer in the wine, and whatever it may be. And but I'll share with you what my Rebbe is kind of based on the Gra. The Gra says the hardest mitzvah on Yontif is Simchas Yontif. Samachta b'chagecha. Now, why is the Gra say it's the hard one? So why it seems like such a easy mitzvah to be Mekayim? So I'll give you. First of all, I'll it'd be wonderful if you could come up with the answer by yourself. Till I say the answer right now. I mean, you don't need to tell to me, but you can. So the Gra says, because if you have 1 second of not simcha, you vatal mitzvah. You have 1 second, if you get into a rough fight with your spouse or something like that, you end up, having a soccer game or a football game with your spouse or your son, your daughter, or whatever it may be, and you end up in vatal simchas yontif.
If the Salzwasser isn't there, don't get upset, be besimcha.
That's right. The Salzwasser is secondary to the mitzvah deraisa of Samachta v'chagecha. The Salzwasser is a rabbanon. Samachta v'chagecha. If you cannot maintain your simcha, you mevatel the mitzvah deraisa. Now, I don't know the expression of simcha that Chazal defined for us as being, at least not being upset. That's one thing. The actual positive attitude of simcha may be another thing we have to define another time. That's not for now. Another thing about Pesach is that my Rosh Yeshiva, Zechat Tzaddik L'Bracha, Rav Sheinberg, as a posik, would suggest, actually in a book about Rav Sheinberg, I forgot what it's called, the English book that ArtScroll printed from him, and other books that was printed his particular caution about how to clean for Pesach and what not to clean for Pesach, will lend itself to having more simchas yontif. How could a woman look forward to sitting by the Seder night when she knows that she has a whole week full of oh my gosh kind of work? This is terrible. I have to go clean this and clean that and kasha this and kasha that and who knows what. With Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Sheinberg Zatzal was a big machmir and a big makbid and an unbelievable Yireh Shamayim, was beyond the beyond the beyond the beyond. Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal would very much stand up for simchas yontif. I don't want women sleeping by the Seder. They should enjoy the Seder. And therefore he would not require, would not even suggest cleaning under the refrigerator. The Gemara says that bittul really helps. When you nullify the chametz, it really helps that you're not over anything. You're not violating any law. The only reason why we take bedika under the refrigerator, we look for chametz afterwards, is because you may come to eat it. Nobody that I know on this planet is going to eat chametz from under the fridge that's there for the last 7 years, together with other leftover chalent from Shabbos. So that's why the Shiva that's always said, what? Like he had that expression. I still remember the beautiful expression. Same thing under the stove. And same thing other places that you makom she'ein machnisim b'chametz, where you don't bring chametz into. You don't have to check your toilet, your bathroom for chametz. I mean, nobody has sandwiches in the bathroom. I don't think it's customary people to eat like salami sandwiches or pastrami sandwiches in the bathroom. I had a shayla, somebody asked me whether they have to make biggest chametz in the bathroom.
Perhaps they meant for cosmetics.
You don't make biggest chametz for cosmetics. You sell your cosmetics, and you don't make biggest chametz for cosmetics space. It's not nothing of complete bread, complete chametz in the bathroom. Most of it's chametz like Shoel, Taruva's chametz. It's not like real straight chametz. So that is number one. Number two is that he also encourages the men to misameach the wives with something, a gift for Yom Tov. So you could give it. I guess you give cash or a present, but you can't give credit cards. And you should do that for your spouse. Particularly the woman. This time is the yontif for women. Other times is the yontif for men. But this time is the yontif that your man's supposed to give his wife, his spouse, a present. For yontif. The other thing that the Sharatzin, I think, brings it down. Sharatzin in the bottom of the Mishnah Berurah, and the Barbanel definitely writes it in the Haggadah. The halacha of kol hamar b'lesaper b'yitzias mitzrayim areizeh meshubach. The one who increases discussion about the Exodus and the pain in Egypt that we suffered is to be praised. That's only if your children are awake. In other words, you should go and do marbe after the afikomen, not before the afikomen, because the Chazal, we want the kids to be up for the afikomen. That's very much part of the Seder. The children should be up, so you should hurry through the Agadah, and except for the Manishtana, of course, and the children's pride and joy, they say Manishtana, you spend time, and you tell them a vort or two in the middle, but to spend all night, like every kid that heard a vort on a little thing, and why it has a dot here, not a dot there, and why this word is here, and the vav here, and it's gebiggled to here over here, and so, I mean, it defeats the purpose of why the Chazal said they want the kids. Whole reason Seder night is for the children. It's for the children to be up. So we should try to make all effort to abbreviate the Haggadah, not chas v'shalom, leave out things for the Haggadah. Abbreviate meaning the time of the Haggadah, and the kids should be up for the Havikaimen. Maybe you talk something a little bit in the Seder about something a little bit, but when you start seeing the kids putting their head down like this, you lost it. That's also written in the Sefer Menucha Kedusha from a Talmud Muvag of Reb Chaim Abolozhin. You could look there and see it yourself. We have to be careful of the mitzvah d'oraisa and less careful for the mitzvah d'Rabbanan. Doesn't mean you have to be careful for the Rabbanan. You have to be careful for mitzvah d'Rabbanan, but less careful for the mitzvah d'Rabbanan. And he says, for example, we machmir with the shear of who knows what. Is it the Avim Chaim Noah shear? Is it the Brisker Rav shear? Is it the two Brisker Rav shears? Is it the Haman Rosh shear? Whose shear is it? We don't know. But we know is we machmir on the shear. Meanwhile, on the other figures at night, like Simchas Yom Tov, or even saying the Haggadah, probably Mekayim the Mitzvah is not. There's no shear to Mekayim the Mincha. You got to tell the Mincha. That's all the Nesivos and Chuvas Rashba say that there's no shear in that. You Mekayim with 1 word, 2 words, 5 words, 10 words. When you say a lot of words, you Mekayim the rice of CPC Mitzrayim. You don't need to go and say forever. That's why the Rashba, the Nesivos answers in his Haggadah. Why do we make a bracha on CPT Mitzrayim? He says because it has no shear. Mm-hmm. So as I asked the Kasha once to my Meishiv about Talmud Torah, and we had a whole shakla v'tarya with the Talmud Torah and CPT Mitzrayim. But we're not here to talk of learning. We're here just to share with you some thoughts about Pesach.
I want to being misameach other people as well, not just concentrating on oneself.
Parachim, I'm just taking the words out of my mouth. The Rambam the end of Vichas Yontav Vichas Sukkah, I think he says that a simcha without being misameach leib aniyim v'avyanim is not really a simcha. Not really a simcha when you're not misameach others. It's interesting that you pointed that out. And I'll maybe if I have another second, I'll just tell you. But I want to just tell you one shir, and I once heard from Chazkel Abramsky. I was in Bayit Began once, and I heard it from him directly with a few other people. Chazkel Abramsky was the dayan in Shoel. The Brisker Rav was very, very respectful of the Chazkel Abramsky and the Gedol Yisrael. He looked up to him. I just want to share something that I mentioned before to you, kind of something pessimistically, that there's not so much pursuit of absolute virtue anymore like there used to be. Not so much. There is, but not so much. We don't even know what virtue is sometimes. We do know what absolute virtue is, but not so much pursuit of the details of that absolute virtue. We know that helping somebody cross the street, there's no machlokes. If a man who's older or a woman who's older, she can't cross the street and the car's coming to help her, it's a virtue. Forget about the mitzvah. It's a virtue. We know somebody's an old man schlepping bags, and you help her. It's a mitzvah. But the details of that mitzvah and what comes first, and when you have another thing interfering with that we don't care to pursue that much. So it sounds pessimistic. It's pessimistic. It's part of the darkness of Gullus. But in that darkness of Gullus, we could find some serenity, a hope, a prayer, a tear. Moreover, we could feel the pain of that dark night Gullus. And we could feel the hope of Cheres. We lean on our left side. And we could hope. We could embrace the coming Mashiach Tzidkenu, which definitely is on its way. The darkness is only temporary. It's ephemeral, transitory, and now it's closer than ever. The Gedol Yisrael, this generation told us it's closer than ever. We need Mashiach now more than ever. And then we'll give a scream at the end of the Seder, a scream of hope. Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim. Thank you very much.